So I don't feel like doing this at all today, but this is day 3 of my daily devotional series based on the Faithless Christianity guy. That'll probably become the description to the video, which on that topic, video descriptions are kind of odd. I don't really know what to make of them. I don't think that they really matter that much. Ultimately, I'm just going to I'm going to share a little bit of my video strategy, but also tie this into the other 2 videos. So I've just been listening to my first video on a loop, and I'm probably going to keep that thread going for as long as this video series keeps going, because it's a very interesting thread. But basically, this Faithless Christianity guy inspired me to act as though I believe in God, and I do believe in God, but my conversion happened 6 years ago. At least the most intense part was like 6 to 7 years ago. But I've sort of believed what I believe my entire life, and I've really just clarified how to articulate what I believe, which is based on feeling. But I have had a lot of health problems throughout my life, which have destabilized me. Insomnia and stuff, so much so that it's been challenging to even know what stability would be like. I don't know. So I think of myself like Walter Bishop from Fringe, who's a very unstable character, but very brilliant, and he really makes the most sense doing his work. And I think that this is why I need to make this video series, and why I must always be absorbed in my work, because I don't make sense outside of the things that only I can do, because I'm just so unique as an individual. And I'm not saying that in a good way. Like, it's mostly been very unpleasant in my life, because I have, I imagine I'm also, like, other people probably feel this way. There's definitely some element. I mean, I'm always working on being more social, I'll put it this way, but I experience a constant degree of alienation from other people due to the fact that my brain simply works differently. Like, I've had to stop taking Adderall because it makes it very difficult for me to sleep. Only after this latest insomnia episode. Before then, it actually helped me sleep, but after something changed, it just affects me differently now. So now I'm just dealing with normal ADHD for me, but I've realized that since taking Adderall and experiencing what's actually, because I'm very analytical. I'm like majored in psychology, but studied psychology mostly like out of school. And I studied other people, and I studied them my whole life, and I study how they act. And I always felt like I was different from other people. Like, I kind of felt like I was insane growing up. And definitely some of that was the insomnia. Insomnia and ADHD will make you feel insane if you don't meditate. Meditation and archery create sanity. I'm actually going to go make a little archery range indoors after doing this. Well, actually, after doing this, I'm going to do my daily devotional, where I'm going to read January 2nd of the Jesus Calling book, and then sit there for 30 minutes dwelling in the presence of God, which is what I was doing at the time when I converted to Christianity. I kind of became obsessed with the origins of consciousness, so I would dwell in the source of consciousness, which I came to describe as and recognize as the same as the Christian God, and who is the one true God. It's ultimately the same God. It's the clearest description of the same force that everyone's talking about. Like, even the force from Star Wars is the same as God from Christianity. Like, how do you think Moses split the Red Sea? It's like the force, but it works in this weirdly nuanced way. But there's also this Old Testament that Jews, Muslims, and Christians all insist is true. Which is really weird that we all agree on the Old Testament, and that it describes the Force. And, like, I mean, literally, like, Moses with his staff, like, he's basically just a frickin' Jedi. Like, Moses is just like a Bronze Age Jedi. Moses is a Bronze Age Jedi. That's like what he was. He was a Bronze Age Jedi, and he was like, Pharaoh, you do not have a deep understanding of the Force. And Pharaoh was like, you underestimate my power! And Moses was like, don't try it. And, like, literally, like, it's like fucking Bronze Age Jedi shit. So, that's Christianity. You can access that through meditation. Semen retention is tremendously powerful for this. Like, like, I'm still figuring, I've had very long streaks, and I've learned some shit about semen retention. Like, I've had, like, multi-year streaks, and I've learned some shit. And it's like, I'll put it this way, like, there's a reason Noah passes out in a field drunk, naked. It's because he didn't inherit a functional tradition. And we're not inheriting a functional tradition. Our tradition has been fundamentally destabilized by, I'll call it Cananism, just to see if that affects how the algorithm treats my video. But it's essentially this practice that traces back to old world Canaan that has this fascinating way of liberating women to the point where they can murder their own children. And it has this whole way of speaking and belief system and all these things that come along with that once you adopt those other practices, women very quickly start murdering their own children. And then anyone who objects to that starts getting murdered too. Because the great thing about having a belief system that validates human sacrifice is that it's really easy to debate anyone who disagrees with that belief system. You just kill them because you're really down with murder. That's the definition of the belief system. So, yeah, that's inevitable. There's a reason that the Bible says salvation comes from the Jews. That was always inevitable. That was always going to happen. Because it's just a possible chess move. It's like people who are upset about guard pulling in jiu-jitsu. And it's like people are just upset about any move that people make in a game. It's just like annoying because like it was always a thing that you could do and they just chose to not consider all the moves that they could make. Like people, like I show people, like I have a silver dollar in my wallet from, I'm not going to get it out because I'd have to use my other hand and then the foam would fall and stuff, but it's a silver half dollar from 1972. It's a Kennedy silver dollar. Or silver half dollar from 1972. And that was the last year that it was silver. After 1972, in 1973, the Kennedy silver dollars are not silver anymore. The silver half dollars, they're just like quarters. They're made the same stuff quarters are made of. Quarters used to be silver too. And now that they're no longer silver, like no one's noticed, and it's like everyone's upset that the price of things is going up and that they can't vote with their dollar anymore, but they didn't, like they're just not even playing the game. It's like most people are upset that they're not winning, but they were never even playing the game. That's really a good way of thinking about it too. Most people are upset that they're not winning, but they were never really playing the game. And like, what is the game? Well, one aspect of the game right now is to get as many views, get as much attention as you can via social media. And I adopt the approach, like these videos are not designed to get attention. These videos that you're watching right now, this is the reasons I make these videos. Like I'd have to make an entire hour-long video explaining why I'm making this video right now, because there's so much thought that goes into it. But the videos I'm making, I'm just posting on Instagram. That's how you get a ton of attention. The reason I do YouTube is for long-term attention, and basically I've always realized that I could, at any point in time, completely blow up the amount of attention I was getting by simply regularly posting to Meta. So I trained myself to post content that would do well on YouTube And then by the time I got to the point where my business partners started to question why I was doing social media, I then just took what I was doing on YouTube, which I'd optimized for YouTube, and started putting that on Meta, which is an inherently less competitive platform, while backing it up to other social media sites and optimizing for other social media moves in the future after the point where I have books released and the website optimized so that the traffic has optimal retention. Because the ultimate goal is to convert the short-term attention into long-term interest, or at least enough interest to create the action to buy a physical book or something that'll linger in your house, which will remind you that I exist and of the ideas that inspire you to take said action, so that you then look into those ideas later, so that ultimately it serves to guide the trajectory of the collective unconscious, because that's fundamentally the way language works. Language is all self-referential. So the people who really control language are the people who use that language to its utmost, which is why Nietzsche defined German, Shakespeare's defined English. I'm trying to define, I don't even know what I'm trying to define, but I'm just doing a lot so I can study the effects of what I'm doing while I take the minimum required action in order to yield effective results that are communicable enough and resulty enough to enable me to take the next steps required to build systems of human behavior that function successfully on the ideas that I best understand and can implement, because those are really the ideas, those are the only ideas I have access to. I don't have access to other ideas. And this is sort of where tolerance is useful. Like, you shouldn't tolerate bad behavior, but you should tolerate people who think differently from you, because you can't optimize for every behavioral outcome. So you have to build systems that accommodate your own behavioral peculiarities so that those are a boon to you and everyone else and not a burden. Devin out. Tune in tomorrow.